Music and Booze with Mo is produced and distributed by EatsDrinksTV, a service of the Center for Culinary Culture, home of the Cocktail Collection, and First Reel Entertainment, and is available wherever fine podcasts can be heard. The Center for Culinary Culture, telling the story of food and drink, one taste at a time. Welcome to Music and Booze with Mo. I'm Mo Herms, and I've worked in the music industry most of my life, so have met some pretty amazing musicians over the years. I also love a good cocktail, and I've encountered some really interesting bartenders as well. It seems that there's a lot of crossover, so when I can, I like to talk to musicians and bartenders about music and booze. Join us at the bar, won't you? Music and Booze with Mo is brought to you by Barkeeper, a head shop for cocktail lovers, located at 614 North Hoover Street in Silver Lake, Los Angeles. Stop by for barware, vintage glassware, a carefully curated collection of spirits, and one of the most impressive selections of bitters anywhere. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook for information regarding spirits tastings. That's barkeepersilverlake.com, and also in the Virgil Village neighborhood of Silver Lake, Los Angeles.
I've been down, I've been up, I've been down, I've been up, I've been up, I've been up, I've been down, I've been up, I've been down, I've been up, I've been up, I've been.
Today, all the music we hear is performed by Xandi Gray, who is our guest. Xandi is a bartender at The Spot Edo in Houston. Her family actually owns 2 locations of The Spot, and she is really fortunate to be part of the community that her family has built in the Houston area over the last several years. On top of that, she is a rising star, an R&B princess, and the lessons she's learned behind the bar is really serving her well while navigating the music industry. So let's sit back and listen to some amazing music and some fun tales about up and coming in both the bar world, but really in the music world.
Having you introduce yourself, tell us where you're working, and just things like that. Just a little brief intro on you.
Gotcha. So my name is Xandi. I also go by Alex Gray. I work at the Spot Edo. It's a branch of the first location, which is the Spot Lounge and Bar. They're both located in Houston, the 3rd Ward area on Emancipation Street, both on Emancipation Avenue. And my parents have owned these locations. Well, the first one, it just made 16 years. So that one's been open for 16 years. And it's definitely, I would say, the heart of the community, especially exactly where it's at. Like, everybody knows about the Spot. Everybody goes. When I was in school, a lot of my parents' friends would, my friends' parents, would be going to that bar. So anyway,
It's a long-time community thing.
Long-time community thing.
And a family business.
Yes, and a family business.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So yeah, they just recently opened this location. It just made its 2nd year mark. Mm-hmm. And so that's been great. This has been my first time bartending. I actually used to work at Hooters, and I wasn't yes. I actually was not a bartender there. But I quit to work at my parents' bar, and that was like, because they were like, you don't have to work there, right? And I'm like, you're right. And I quit, and I was only making like $80 there a day, and drastically changed when I started working for my parents. So, and they've been supporting me with my music. They play my music. It's a club scene. They play my music while I'm working. When I'm not there, I have a really good relationship with all the DJs, and it's just been a good networking experience
Well, your
for sure.
music, by the way, I'm trying to think if I've had anyone on the podcast who has been recently mentioned in Billboard, like yourself. I mean, I've had some folks who like back in the day, maybe they had something,
Right.
had some notice or something like this, but you just dropped some music and you just got written up. And so let's just talk about your music right now because it's so new and so fresh and super exciting. You must be so excited right now that it's like out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely am. Like it's especially the last project I just dropped, Grown, which dropped on January 20th. I already have like one of my songs has like over 55,000 streams, just one of the songs on Spotify.
Mhm.
So it's been great. Like I had my press release party for my newest project at the spot, Ito. That was really great. It's so great to have a venue like that in our back pocket because we've done my listening party for my other EP, Girl Talk. We did a big album release party there.
Yeah.
That was super fun. It was super lit, super turnt. And so yeah, I've been recording since I was 15. I'm 24 now. But I've always been singing, but I've been like in the booth since I was in high school. So things are finally starting to come into fruition for me. And so I'm just buckling up for the ride and like, you know, just preparing my mind and my spirit for everything. But
It's a lot.
been great. Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is.
When did you first start singing at home? Were you like a little kid singing along to the radio or?
Yeah, like it was one of those stories. People always ask me. I'm like, yeah, it's literally like that. Like nobody else in my family sings. Like my grandpa, he plays the saxophone, and his son, my uncle, he plays the piano. But other than that, that's it. Nobody sings. So I'm just that one in the family that was blessed with that talent. And so I've been singing literally since I could talk. I can remember some of my first moments. I live in Texas, and I'm from Houston, Texas. So there's a commercial that used to come on for Ford, and it's like Ford is the best in Texas, and like my family would make me sing that like it was like an opera song, like in front of the whole family. But it just transpired onto that, like it just went on from there. I'm like, oh, I really love to sing. I love an audience. I love to perform. So it just blossomed, honestly. And my parents really, you know, nurtured that dream of mine. So
Now, how did you get to the point where you've already released music? I mean, you're pretty young. You already did it. When did you start?
yeah,
Like, actually, you're like, I'm going to record, I'm writing my own songs. When did you start really
right.
putting it out there and gigging and stuff?
So when I was 15, so a sophomore in high school, I went into the booth. I had been in recording booths. Of course, my mom was with me. We would find people that, you know, didn't mind recording a kid or whatever. And I would go into the booth, but I was 13. Like looking back, I'm so happy I didn't release any of that music because sometimes when you're young, like that can really brand you. Like people won't, you know, they'll like how people call Bow Wow, they still call him Little
Little
Bow
Bow
Wow. And
Wow.
he wants to go by Shad Moss. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm glad I didn't release any of that music. But the music I released when I was 15 was really good. I released it on SoundCloud. It was my first song ever called She Ain't Me. I performed that at my high school. It was like a really big hit. It got like over 20,000 streams. And that was before like promotion and before like really using social, you know, how artists use their social media to, you know, it was before that. So that was like my first big jump off. And then from there, I just been releasing music ever since, especially when I got to college. I was able to like really, you know, release music.
What were you writing about when you were 15?
I was writing, I actually had like a pretty bad,
I'm like, you already got dumped by the time you were 15?
Yeah, exactly. Like a pretty bad breakup. And me and him are like still cool to this day. But like it was, so I was like just writing about that.
Well, you
Excuse
know,
me.
I remember someone telling me once that all pop music, and I said this before on the podcast, all pop music wouldn't exist if it weren't for teenage girls. because teenage girls hear it all first, or we feel it all so immensely, and we hear those songs and relate to them. So we can be like 14 or 15 and had our crush reject us and actually write a really valid, heartbreaking song, right? And so the girls love it, and then the guys start paying attention because they want to hang out with the girls or something,
Right.
So it kind of like, that's how it kind of seeps about. But
I mean,
so
definitely
totally you could write something that good when you're that young.
Yeah, and then like you think about like how girls are, I don't want to use the word groomed, but like we're shaped to want to be princesses and look for the prince, all these Disney movies, they're all about love at the end of the day. So we aren't like we're by the
We have
time we are like
expectations.
15,
Yeah.
exactly. By the time we're 15, we're like already like, yeah, so I want to get married this time. I want to have a husband. Or I
Right.
want to have kids. Like when
Like
guys are just kind of living their life.
We've already been set up for disappointment by the time we're 15.
And my mom would always say like these relationships are not going to work out. Like, and I'm like, that's what you think, but she was like totally right. But there's no way to like put that in a 15-year-old's mind,
right?
Like,
totally. That's so cute.
Definitely.
So, what kind of stuff are you writing about now?
So my latest EP, Grown, it's basically about me just coming into my womanhood, coming into my adulthood.
Yeah.
That's just been like the theme of like year 24 for me. Like I'm telling myself by 25, my birthday is in December. By 25, I want to set myself up for the rest of my life. I don't want to be getting it when I'm older. So I've just been writing about just loving at this age. I have a song called Jealousy because that's something that a lot of women and men, deal with, even myself. A song called Love No More because I'm at a place where I'm not really interested in falling in love. Like I feel like you have to want to love, and I just don't have that in me right now. And so yeah, I'm just like a song about
that's
that.
So valid too, is just about loving yourself and putting yourself first, and you can't be with someone else until you've got yourself in order,
Exactly. And like, although like I've always really loved myself and been secure and confident, now it's time to like nourish myself and like take care of my, like, how like self-care day every day. Like, that's how I'm really thinking. So like I talk to someone, but it can't go to that next level for me at the moment just because I'm just so into myself right now. I'm just,
well, you've got a plan.
Exactly. I'm just laser focused.
So when you were a kid though, and you were starting to sing, who were some like just role models for you? You had to have some people out there. You're like, this is the way I want to go. This is partly how I want my career to go. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be your way, but there had to be inspirations out there.
Oh, well, definitely Beyonce. Like I'm
from
Houston.
Hero.
Yeah, like I'm from Houston. So when I was old enough to start remembering things around 4, she was just getting into her debut album as a solo artist. So that was probably the first and biggest influence on my artistry. Me and my mom used to sing her music in the car all the time together, and I was just so young, so little. So her for sure. I love Mary J. Blige. I even said Chris Brown, because when I was like becoming into, like when I was in my adolescence, figuring out who I am, he was one of the artists that was out. And because I'm an artist, even at that young age, I was listening to the lyrics. I was listening to his runs and his melodies. So that too, I love Neo. I even listened to a lot of Anita Baker and Mary J. Blige, super big influence, and another artist, India Arie. So it was a couple that like, and I grew up in like a white area. So I also was able, like, I listened to a lot of pop growing up. Like I loved pop, like that's something that my other Black friends may or may not share with me, because of where we grew up. But I really love pop music and rock, and I enjoy all that. So it was a lot of influences, honestly, that
You know, something I've wondered about is, hip hop. Obviously, the Grammys just did that 50 years of hip hop thing, right?
Yeah.
This big old thing. And I'm old enough to be like, oh my God, it's been that long. Hip hop has always been around. I can remember a time when I didn't feel like hip hop was everywhere, but now I feel like hip hop is pop music, because
absolutely
there's pop music and hip hop. They're the same. This the same level to me. Everyone listens to all of that. So to me, it's almost like everyone's just hearing it all. They're,
yeah, exactly.
No matter what color the neighborhoods or anything. Growing up in a Latin family, I always joked around in a Latin family that the grandma, like the abuela, is listening to the same stuff as her grandson, right? Because it's the same house. Everybody's listening to the same thing. So it didn't matter if it was reggaeton or if it was old cumbia. Everybody knows the same song.
Yeah.
So I think depending on the community, you get that kind of thing. And it sounds like you've been raised really in quite a communal kind of environment, with your parents running these restaurants and everything.
Yes.
So how was that for you growing up? Did you hang out at the restaurants, at the clubs when you were a kid?
Well, first I want to say, like, I grew up in a suburb called Pearland, Texas. And that Pearland is a melting pot to me. There's like equal amounts of races. Like I have an Asian next door neighbor, and then my other next door neighbor is Black, and then the person across the street is white. So, it's like it's a big melting pot. But so when the spot opened, I was 8 years old. So I wasn't up there. And now that I work there, I see why. Because like, it's like, even now my mom will be like, you heard about that? No. And I'm like, first of all, I'm 24. And second of all, yes, like everybody's talking about it. Like we all, how like just stuff gets around in the bar community. I mean, I can't. Of course I heard about it, but I wasn't able to. But I will say, my parents, since they've been in this industry for so long, they like customers these customers love my parents. Like they'll come and they'll come to the house, play chess with my dad, or or sit outside and they'll smoke a cigar or something, so I already, like, by the time I was working, they're like, oh, little Alex, what you doing back here? Like I had knew them all. I just didn't know them on the level that I know them now.
Crazy things I do to you and only you. Hey, yeah. If you don't know what to say, baby, say my name. Yeah, if you don't know what to do, you do me and I'll do you.
Like I said,
was it at the Spot? Was that your first bartending gig? Was the Spot?
Yeah. So I graduated from Howard University, but before I graduated, I had to come home. Yeah, it's in DC. Nice. And so I had to come home during COVID, and I finished my degree online with Howard. But anyway, so when I came home, I had a job out there. But when I came back home, I was like, dang, I need a job. So I started working at Hooters. Hated it. Just throwing that out there. Hated it. 0 out of 10. Do not recommend. But then, like I said, my parents are like, you can come bartend. And I was a little intimidated because those bartenders, like my parents have bartenders that's been working for them for over 10 years. It's great money. It's a beast. Like it's a high volume bar, and so I was a little intimidated, but I had a comfort knowing that, my parents owned it, they would be around. And like I said, I already kind of knew these people. So I started working for them. I think it was April 2020. So we've been open almost 3 years now. It'll be 3 years in April. But and I've been working there ever since. And I started training at the first location. And then once the new location was open out first day, I was already ready.
So what do you like about bartending then?
I'm still
discovering
what. Yes, what I will say is I believe that everything happens for a reason. And because I've God, knows I've always wanted to be in this industry, and everybody knows I've always wanted to be like in the music industry. There are a lot of things that I'm taking away from, like I'm working 12-hour shifts. Like I'll get in at 3 o'clock and I'll leave at 3 a.m. And like that's how the music industry is a lot of the times. You're working for hours and hours at a time, very, very late nights, still have to get up the next morning and do what you're supposed to do. So I think, like I said, everything happens for a reason. And that's giving me, because before I was an early bird and I went to sleep no later than like 10 o'clock. Like I've always been like that. Like since like I was a kid, like a kid. So like now my sleeping habits are like totally
switching
different. Yeah. But it's like, I'm glad, because I might have to do a show and then get up in the morning and do an interview, or, so it's teaching me balance. So I really like that. And then also it's teaching me self-control. Because dealing with people who are under the influence, first of all, the customer's always right, my air quotes, but
I think since COVID, people have rethought that, especially in the bar room.
I know, because they're like not always right, but
they are
like
not always
still,
right.
Even but my parents have made it clear that like just because I'm their daughter, I can't go in there cussing everybody out. So I just kind of like, it's just taught me a lot of self-control, and just like it's giving me a lot of, I've always been an empath, but it's just giving me like just more insight to people, like, and not everything's personal, like, like not everything, most things are not personal at all. So I'm just learning lessons, but I do like to interact with people. It's just sometimes in the area we're in, it'll just be so high volume, and you have regulars that feel like, they should get their drink no matter how long the line is, and stuff like that. And then you got to deal with them being mad at you. And so it's just a lot,
it is just a lot. It's funny because, I've talked to so many musicians who work behind the bar, and a lot of the comparisons to bartending and being a performer is that performance side of things. You're behind the bar, people are watching you, you're making the drinks, but what you're talking about is so obvious, and just never really thought about it. Just giving you that, learning how to deal with all these different kinds of people. And if you're pursuing a music career, you also have to get a sense of, okay, this is what this person is expecting, this is how I handle that person. And
exactly,
except you're doing it really fast.
And it's like, because even when, when I'm on those Grammy stages and on those red carpets, it wouldn't be a good look to, be going off and just being angry. And so it's like, I deal with those things in private. When I get home, I like discuss it with my parents or whatever, or call a friend or whatever. So it's just helping me, like, and then also like coworkers too. Dealing with coworkers that like may not work as hard as you, or make as good of drinks as you, or maybe better than you. It's been a whole bunch of dynamics. Like
what drinks do you like making so far, since you've been doing this? You're a couple years in now.
So I make the best lemon drops. Like everybody says that. Like, I make the best lemon drops. I make really good margaritas too. It's my dad's recipe. And nice. Actually, tomorrow is, because when they first opened the first location, my dad was always up there bartending. Like he had his, like, that's how they developed those relationships. And so tomorrow for Margarita Day, he's going to be making margaritas from 5 to 6. So I know it's going to be packed up there. Yeah. but yeah, margaritas. And then I like making sidecars too. Even though I don't like cognac, I like making those.
Nice. Those are cool. Have you found a spirit that you like now, since you've gotten into it? Sounds like you're not really much of a partier, so it wasn't like you had, unless you did have those like college experiences,
Oh, definitely. I'll say just the first year that I was working there, I almost became alcoholic. I can openly say that now, because
you got past it.
Huge step back. I got past that for sure, but it was just being surrounded by so much alcohol. And then, customers wanting to buy you a drink. And then I would come up there on my off days. And it was just, and like one time I woke up And like I told my friend, I was like, I'm craving Patron, but like from my blood, like from my bloodstream though.
No,
Like I can't
ew,
even,
no, no.
I can't even describe the way and I had just woke up, so I was like, okay, time to get that in order. But with that being said, when I was like going through, drinking, because I wasn't a big drinker in college because I wasn't old enough. By the time I was 21, I was already home for
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah.
But and I never had like a fake ID because I was like, I'll be 21 soon, and then I could
And then
anyway.
everything,
That's something
yeah.
I regret.
And then,
But
well, nothing you could do about it. The world did that for you, It's
yeah,
like
literally. So I was
the
like,
world took away
whatever.
your debaucherous 21st birthday.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all good. But so I was I started off drinking like Grey Goose,
Mhm.
which like now I don't know. I don't know what that was about,
We
but
all
now
learn.
I just drink Patron, like tequila. I like
Mine was Midori. So
Midori.
yeah, I know, right?
Is that's the blue
That's
bottle?
that's the green one. That's the green
Oh,
one.
it's a
It's super
green
green, like
one.
bright green. Basically,
Um,
it's like we got diabetes just talking about it just now,
yeah, yeah.
We all got to
Oof.
start somewhere, right?
Yes, yes. When I first started drinking, I was like drinking like Parmesan and like I know, just like Crown Peach and
Oh, people love that stuff.
ugh,
Love, love, love that
they
stuff.
do. Like even to this day, I'm like, ugh. People ask for like green crown apple margaritas. That's something I've made. I'm like, that's
Hey,
nasty, but
and then
I'll make it,
it's to
and they
each
love
their own,
it.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, this is amazing though that you obviously are really, I mean, I have to commend you for being smart enough to see the traps, to see where you can stumble and
Yeah.
fall and to be able to take control of that because it will serve you, like you said, it will serve you going forward once your music career fully explodes, which it seems like it's
Mhm.
already kind of blowing up. So I know I mentioned it at the beginning, but tell me about the press you've gotten. Because
Yeah.
how did the Billboard thing come up? I love that I saw that. I looked you up and I'm like, what? She's in Billboard? That's
Yeah.
awesome. So yeah, so
Yeah.
what's
So
been coming up on this album for you?
so yeah, this album pretty much sparked everything for me. I have a really good PR agent. His name is Chad Black. He's like well known in the city.
Mhm.
But he helped me score those connections. Once
Nice.
he sent them my streams and my accolades and my music, they were like, very happy to work with me. So they sent me some interview questions. I answered them, and then I was on Billboard Hip Hop, and then I was also on the Breakfast Club, their website,
Nice.
Power 105.1. So that was awesome too. And I just recently did an interview with 102.1. That's our R&B station out in Houston. It's been around for years and years and years and years, and it's a station I used to listen to growing up. So I was super ecstatic about that. That was
That is so
awesome.
cool. That is so
Yeah, that was
cool.
awesome. I was like on live air
Mhm.
talking. They're playing my music. I got to sing a bit. It was really great. So
Very
the
nice.
press is just I really believe in especially because I'm a breakout artist now.
Mhm.
I know some artists and it's like no, not trying to knock them, but
Mhm.
they wouldn't be open to certain interviews, or if they're smaller, or if
Mhm.
they're with, you know, to me, I mean, that's, you might have a listener that's never heard of me. And so I
Yeah.
want them to know, so now I have been asked to do sport podcasts, and I'm like, I don't, that, I just, I'm like, y'all wouldn't really enjoy me on that because I won't really be knowing what y'all are talking about at all. Like, so I've had to decline those. But other than that, like, the interviews have been great. Hosts like you have been like very gracious and just very like lighthearted, and it's been great doing
Yeah,
these
well, it's
interviews and
fun.
this
I mean,
press.
it's fun to do it, and this was kind of an interesting when I reached out and heard back. It's like, oh, you have to talk to Xandi. It's like we've got this bar, and you got to
Yeah.
talk to Xandi. And I was like, and I looked you up, and I was like, oh my god, yes, this is perfect. I love talking to people
Yes.
who are in the industry and do music as well. Sometimes they've already done it and they're finished with it. Sometimes they're just starting out like you, and it's so exciting. And I always say you were talking about there's going to be that listener that's never heard of you, right? And
Right.
I always say, like, people think I've worked in the music industry my entire life, like decades, but there's
Mhm.
still so much to learn. And there are always, music never stops.
Absolutely.
There's
Yeah.
always new music. And so when I listen to your stuff, I was listening to it last night, walking around the house. My husband's like, what is this? I'm like, this is the woman I'm talking to tomorrow. He's like, this is nice. I'm like, yeah.
I'm
It was
glad y'all
awesome.
like it.
It was awesome. I'm so excited to chat with you. So what is next for you musically? Do you get to start playing some clubs? Are you zipping around the country? What are you going to try to do next?
So, I just left New York and had a talk with a major label, 300,
Mm.
and
Oh,
that's who,
yeah.
like, yeah, Megan Thee Stallion is signed to them, and Young
Yeah.
Thug. So we had a really good conversation. We're starting to, work on a partnership, I'll say. But I like to drop my music in like a 6 week time span. So it's about time to drop my latest single, and it's actually gonna be a really big Houston hit. It's sampling like a Houston classic. And so
Aw.
I have, yeah, and it has a really like a big producer actually in the game that made it, EXO. So I'm really excited. I think it's gonna like really drive me out of like where I'm at right now, because I'm still my streams are great, but I'm just trying to like, get to break
Just
that
build it
wall
up.
to get to the,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that should be releasing in the next couple of weeks. And I'm also shooting my music video to my song I Do
Mhm.
next week. And I Do is like one of the biggest songs on my newest EP right now. Everybody loves that one. So yeah, just music videos, music, like what I've learned since graduate. Because when I was in college, I really wasn't able to dedicate myself to this, like,
Mhm.
because I had a job, I was in college,
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
in pageants, it was just all types of stuff. So I wasn't able to dedicate myself to my music, but now it's just consistency is really key. So I'm
Yeah.
just trying to just keep coming out with new things, interview when I
Mhm.
can, travel when I can, network when I can. So honestly, I'm just gonna keep working and doing the things that I've been doing, keep building
Mhm.
my catalog up.
Cool. The hustle never stops. Never stops
At
when you're a
all. It does.
musician.
It can't. Or
Yeah.
then that's
You
where your
gotta
music
you gotta
stops.
keep that momentum going for sure, for sure.
Absolutely,
Well, that is
absolutely.
amazing. Okay, so this is probably a good place to wrap it up. So you got to tell everybody where they can find you. Now, obviously, if they're in Houston, we find you
Yes.
at the bar. So it's at the Spot.
Yes. So
And it's
yeah, y'all, if y'all are in Houston, y'all can please come by the Spot, third ward. It's 4709 Emancipation Avenue,
Mhm.
and they're open 7 days a week, all day.
All
And
day.
then yeah, pretty much all day. And then the Spot Edo, which is the bigger, nicer, newer location, is on the same street, 2003 Emancipation, and they're open Thursday through Sunday. So yeah, you can come catch me behind the bar, tip the girl real good.
Yes, tip good.
Yes. And then that's another thing, that just sidebar. I've always, like, since I got in college, I've realized how, like, tipping was like important, but definitely after I started working at Hooters and then
Mhm.
bartending, now it's like when I go to a bar, I'm like, oh no, it's okay, don't worry about it. Because I get it, I totally
Yep,
get it.
yep.
I get it. But and yeah, y'all can find me on Instagram at Xandi Official. That's Xandi Official, Xandi Official. And then you'll see all my other social media on there. And you can listen to my newest EP, Grown, on all streaming platforms. You just type in Grown, GROWN,
Mhm.
Xandi, Xandi, and I will pop up. And you're really going to enjoy it. It's a 15-minute project, and it's really a vibe. I think it's my best project yet.
It's definitely a vibe. I love it. It's great.
Thank
It's just
you.
totally yeah, I'll be listening to it again and again and again. I'm so excited for
Thank
you. So I
you.
just met you and I'm so excited for you. And you talk at
Oh, thank
300 and I
you.
know 300. So I just
Yes.
one day I'm going to be like, oh, I talked to her back then.
And I keep telling people, I'm like, and we're gonna do another interview.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. There's going
so
to be the
I
catch up.
can't wait till we talk again,
I'll
and
talk
then
to you. You know,
we
I'm
have
out in
more to
Los
talk.
Angeles. So at some point you will be here in
Yes.
Los Angeles and I'll be like waving at you from the Grammy
Absolutely.
Museum. Oh, there she is.
Absolutely.
I have
Yes,
one
ma'am.
more question for you before
Uh-huh.
we wrap this up, and that is Beyonce or Solange?
As far as music,
Yeah.
or
Well, if you can give an argument for both,
um,
because I can see both of them in your music when you talked about that and some of your
yeah, I would say for me personally, even though I think they're both equally like beautiful, great musicians, I
Mhm.
just grew up on Beyonce.
Yeah.
You know, because like Solange was real young when so I just
That is true.
I
That
didn't
is
know
true.
of her. But her When I Get Home project, it's funny you said that because I was listening to Solange today and I was like, this
Mhm.
project is so good. Like they're just
Mhm.
musical geniuses. They really
totally
are.
different. They're coming at it
And
from
I
different
love
angles.
that.
Same.
And I love that because it's so many genres and music to cover.
Mhm.
You can combine genres,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, that you can it's so much to do. So for her to go that alternative route, I love it. So yeah, but if I had to choose, I would say Beyonce, just because like I said, I grew up on
Okay.
her.
All
Yes.
right. I made you do it. So otherwise you never would have chosen.
Never.
Well, don't go, but thank you so much for talking to me today. I was so excited to chat with you.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me.
Step, I ain't ready. Hold up, I'm ready now. Hey, yeah. Ooh, I know I'm ready. Hey, it's the beginning, and I got big plans of winning. Won't stop till I get the ticket and the picket fences. I'm so serious, gotta grind and no time for kicking it. Gotta move if you really feel it. Turn it up if you wanna hear it. Help me sing.
Xandi Gray, a real delight and a talent. I really recommend looking her up on whatever streaming service it is that you use. The tracks that we heard, well, right now we're listening to Winning. We also heard in the middle there, Say My Name, and at the top of the show, we heard Up and Down. So if you like those, I've got another track coming. We're going to listen to something from her new EP. The song we'll hear is You Know I Do. And if you find yourself in the Houston area, then you should check out The Spot and check out The Spot Edo, the second location, so that you can say hi to Xandi, unless she's on tour or something. Also, Xandi's put together a drinking playlist for us. It's got some of her songs on it, but some good bar songs. So head on over to the Moherms Spotify page to see that. And now let's listen to a track from Xandi. This is You Know I Do.
I fuck it up. You know I do. You know I do. You love it when I ride it, baby. I know you do. I know you do. I know you do. I tell him spin it on me. You know you do. You know you do. You know you do. He said he think that I'm the one. I know you do. I'm the one. I know you do. I know you do. I'm not gonna chase you like that. I know that you gon' come right back. Patience is something that you got one time to answer and I'm not calling back. You got one time to play me and that thing gon' go clap. First time that you tried it and that box like you jack. First one when you date me, ain't got no time to slack. You ain't ever seen a bad bitch go tit for tat. I got you tripping and stumbling. Can't talk, got you stuttering. You look mad when I got to you, but you said it was nothing. We can't grow into something, but you keep trying to push for me like I'm some kind of button. Like you really could trust me. I got niggas in London, I got niggas in Paris, got some niggas back home. Swear to God they all love me. Got a couple in DC and they wish they could touch me. Got a couple overseas wishing that they could cover me. You know I do. You know I do. You know I do. You love it when I ride it, baby. I know you do. I know you do. I know you do. I tell him spin it on me. You know you do. You know you do. You know you do. He said he think that I'm the one. I know you do. I'm the one. I know you do. I know you do. I'm the one they report to. I'm the one that they passing the torch to. You the one that's gon' sit on the sideline. You don't come from this royalty bloodline.
Music and Booze with Mo is brought to you by The Mermaid, a cozy neighborhood bar with an aquatic flair in the Little Tokyo area of downtown LA. Open 7 days a week, featuring tropical cocktails and snacks, The Mermaid also has a daily happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. Follow The Mermaid on Instagram at TheMermaidLA to hear about upcoming events and check them out at themermaidla.com. Head to 428 East 2nd Street, Los Angeles for a drink. Thank you for tuning in to our barroom chats on Music and Booze with Mo. For more info about today's guest, or if you want to connect with me, check out my Facebook page, Mo Herms. Please subscribe to the podcast and feel free to tell all your friends about it. While you're there, give the show a rating and a review. It really helps to get the word out. If you want to hear the playlists our guests have curated, search She Be Mo on Spotify, SHEBMO. Find pictures of the interviewees and the cool stuff they create on the Music and Booze with Mo Instagram account. Lower your expectations and join us at the bar. Till next time, cheers.